Alright. Nope, we've done chapter 3. I'm fucking doing that again. Chapter 4. Stacy is standing in the corner of the living room, behind the couch, covering herself with the curtain. She doesn't realise that the people walking on the sidewalk outside can see her nude backside. "Let's go for a drink," I tell her. She nods her head and goes for her purse, digging through its contents, not looking for anything in particular. I get us some pants and t-shirts from the hamper in the laundry room. "Here," I say. She sniffles and puts her purse down, then gets dressed. Strangely, she's come out of it unscathed. My hand is still bleeding everywhere. I can't feel much pain. Must be in shock. But her stomach has flattened back to normal. No stretch marks, no tearing of her vagina, no blood. Some claw marks are on her inner thighs, but they are just white scratches. The claws barely broke the skin. I bandage up my wound and put on the smelly, crusty clothes. We go into the garage and slip on some junky old tennis shoes that we were planning to give to Goodwill. "Ready?" I ask, wiping away her tears. She doesn't hear me, busy examining a spiderweb that has recently formed inside the doorway of one of her old dollhouses. We go out to the Kennedy School across town. It's an old elementary school that was bought by a brewing company. All of the classrooms have been turned into bars. All of the classrooms have been turned into bars, restaurants, tobacco lounges, and hotel rooms. Stacy's not a big fan of all the breweries in Portland. She just doesn't like beer at all. She prefers drinking cocktails in the Pearl District, but I love breweries. And I need a very strong brewery beer right now. I'm also thinking if she's not in a condition to go back home tonight, we can just stay in one of the school's guest rooms. She doesn't speak to me for a couple of hours. In the Cypress room at Kennedy School, I feed her screwdrivers with freshly squeezed orange juice and I drink the Sunflower IPA. I try to ask her questions, try to learn more about how the heck a man-sized creature could crawl out of her vagina, where the heck that thing came from, and how long this has all been going on, but she doesn't know. She tells me everything that has to do with her haunted insides. She tells me that ever since she was a little kid, she's heard noises coming from inside her. She thought it was normal. Her parents never noticed, or pretended not to notice. When she was 6 years old, for a few months, she had an imaginary friend who used to come out of her vagina to play with her. Another little girl about her age, with paper-white skin and funny, slimy horns on her head. She doesn't remember much from that time, but had always assumed the girl was just her imagination. She thought maybe it was her young mind giving a form to the voices she heard coming from inside of her. Now she's not so sure. When she was a sophomore in high school, she realised that her vagina was different from other girls' vaginas. Her first love was a girl named Charlie, who was a nerdy freshman who always spoke in a fake French accent. The first time they were naked together, giggling and scared, Stacy's vagina called out to Charlie and knocked the French accent right out of her voice. "That's fucked up," the girl said. Stacy didn't understand. She tried to get close to Charlie, but she pushed her back. "Don't touch me," the girl said, and they never spoke to each other ever again. She stayed away from girls after that, made friends with guys. But most high school guys always wanted to get into her pants, so she only hung out with the Dungeons and Dragons skater kids, who were nice and somewhat fun, but most importantly they were too shy to solicit sex from her. In college, she ended up getting drunk and sleeping with some wannabe beat poet English major. She warned him about having a haunted vagina, but that only turned him on. After they screwed, he said it was the most amazing thing he'd ever done. They dated for a while, and he worshipped her vagina. He told all of his friends about her and would even have them listen to the voices through her pants. All of them thought she was brilliant. She brought magic into their worlds. She was proof that their drunken philosophical discussions of rebellion against reality were somewhat correct. And when she got bored of her boyfriend, she moved on to one of his friends. And when she got bored with him, she would move on to another. All of them treated her like a goddess. She stayed in college until she was 30, becoming something of a legend on campus. Near the end of her college years, she started going to goth parties and charging money to all the little goth boys and girls nearly 8 to 10 years younger than her for the chance to listen to her vagina for a few minutes. There would be lines out the door to see her. Eventually, a rumour went around that it was all fake. She just had some kind of wireless speaker inside of her, playing tape-recorded noises. Nobody believed her after that. She was no longer dating any of the college kids, since they were all so young, so there was no one who had gotten intimate enough with her to back up her story. And she didn't really care to prove it to them. A few guys still paid to listen to her vagina, but once she realised they were just doing it to rub the sides of their heads between her legs, she stopped doing it completely. That's all the information she had for me. It all seemed harmless to her before. Just something that made her unique and special. She's never been scared of it. She might have been scared that people would find out about it as a teenager, but she was never scared of what might be lurking inside of her. She drinks screwdriver after screwdriver until she can barely walk. That's the end of the chapter.